Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesday, presented by Delta Media Group, where we didn't realize it at the time, but looking back on it, we're very thankful that we lost the invitation to Beatrix Kiddo's wedding. So, the thing we're going to take a look at today, and actually, before I even do that, I see we have a comment in chat already, and I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Awesome himself for posting in our chat for Tech Tuesday this week. Thanks a lot, Travis. So what we're going to go over today is the listing management system, or what you can do and what you can do to manage listings through the DeltaNet. So to do that, we'll jump into the DeltaNet and take a look. And we'll go down here to Listings, and then Active Listings. And this will show you every listing that the system recognizes you as the listing agent on, basically. So from here, you have a variety of different options and some stats right on this front page that you can view in relation to this listing. So I'm just going to grab the first one here, and you can see it's called the Active Listings page, but it does show your pending listings here too, as long as we're getting data for those. And note that depending on the size of your browser window, you may have this little plus sign here on the left. That'll expand any extra columns down below it here. So, if this was on a tablet, then probably 3 or 4 of these fields would be hidden in addition to the ones that are already hidden. And then when you hit the plus sign, it expands it out and you can see the rest of them. So, you can see you got basic information here right on the front screen. Price, the address, the status, listing agents, in this case, generally you. If there is a co-listing agent, that should show up on this page also. Number of photos kind of quickly at your disposal, so you can see if there's a listing you should add photos to. Number of requests is showing up on here, and also you have this stats button. Now I will warn you that the stats button takes a long time to load. So if you click here, it will take you to a stats page, and it takes a particularly long time because this is a particularly old listing, 769 days. It's just a pocket listing that I created for testing. So it'll take a while to load the stats up. But what it's doing is it's loading up listing stats, like listing traffic stats. And then toggle stats will actually get the stats to show up on this page. But again, it takes a while to load. So that's what you can do with those. Now, the main thing to keep in mind with stats is that you don't have to see them on this page. Like if you don't want to wait, if you don't want it to wait the amount of time it's going to take, then those stats will go out automatically in the seller reports you set up. And we'll take a look at those as well. So, to see those and some other things you can do in relation to this listing, click on the marketing button here. And you can see that brings up a modal here that gives you access, or kind of quick, convenient access, to get to the marketing related features for this listing. So first, we have Ecards and print flyers. This is the same as if I were to go to customers and then down to Ecards and flyers. This just kind of shortcuts me to it from the listing. So we'll click on send an eCard. And you can see it takes me over to the eCard system. I'll go back down to our listings. Listings, active listings. Click on marketing again, and then the other options we have here. You can create an informational print flyer. Now that differs from the graphical print flyers that you get to from this Ecards and flyers system. Both of these links take you to that same Ecards and flyer system. This create informational print flyer opens up this style of print flyer. And these are just real basic print flyers, kind of designed to just set an account or a listing, that kind of thing, and just have some basic information about the property. Back out of there. And the next thing we can do here is this is where we'll set up seller reports, and I'll get back to that. This is where you can see any open houses that are set up for this one, or if you have the ability to add open houses as per the company, you can add open houses to a listing. You can generate a Craigslist ad, which is kind of interesting. Click here on Generate Ad. And basically what this does is Craigslist won't allow us to post there automatically, like we can't programmatically force posts to Facebook. So what this does is it allows you to build the code and build all the text and everything for the post, and then you go to Facebook and create it manually. If you click this post to Facebook or post to Craigslist button, did I say Facebook? Craigslist button. It takes you to Craigslist, you build your post, and then when you're done, you go back to this page. It'll ask you if the post was created successfully. If you say yes, it will keep track of that date too. So that way, if you are marketing any listings on Facebook, keep saying Facebook. If you are marketing any listings on Craigslist, then this will keep track of the dates so that you can go back in and know when you last posted, and based on that, know when you should post again. So to set it up, all you do is click Post to Craigslist, and then you just copy this and paste it in as your post text as you go through the Craigslist process. Now the next thing we have here, we have seller disclosure. So if that system is turned on, this allows you to add files to this listing. This is an optional feature, so it may not be on for everyone. But if we click here, it takes us to this listing document interface where I can click Add a new document, choose a document on my machine. I'd give it a name here, click Choose File, choose a file, choose who can access it, and then click the Upload Document button, and that will add that file to that listing. Now those can also appear on the public side. So if you had listing documents that you wanted to appear publicly on the listing detail pages so that customers could download them from there, that system allows you to do that. And back to marketing. And last we can do is there's the ability to create open house ads here. Again, an optional feature, is probably not turned on for most, but if that system is turned on for you, you can use this to create those open house ads. All right, so the next thing you can do with listings is if we click on the MLS number of the listing, and in this case, the MLS numbers are just this demo 2 information here, but normally that would be the actual MLS number of the listing. So if we click on that, it takes us through to the sort of listing profile page here in the DeltaNet. You have some information and a link to the listing detail page here at the top. And then as we scroll down the line, you can see a little more information. If the mapping location is wrong for this listing, so if Google doesn't know where it is basically, you can use this to change the position of it in the mapping system. So if I just click there, it loads up the map. I move the pin to where this listing actually is. I hit Save this location, save it, and now in all the map searches, that's where that listing will show up. It can take a little time to update on the public side, but that is how you change that. So we keep going down. This is a pocket listing, so I have the ability to edit the listing information. Normally that won't be here unless it's created as a pocket listing. You can add a tagline to the listing that, depending on your search results template, will show up on the search results. I find this is particularly nice for like vacation rentals and things, listings that actually have a name. That way, I stayed in a beach house once, and the name of the listing, well, this wasn't really a listing, but the name of the rental was 4 Sandy Paws. So I could put in 4 Sandy Paws as the tagline here, and then that would show up on the search results pages under this listing. So it's just another way to display a little extra information on those. You have primary virtual tour. If you add a virtual tour URL here, this will show up on the listing detail pages. A little icon will pop up that says virtual tour, and when you click on it, it'll link to whatever you put here. In some cases, you'll actually have a link down here, a URL of a virtual tour that we provide. You could just copy that and paste it in here, or if we're getting a virtual tour from the MLS, it should automatically populate here. Secondary virtual tour is exactly the same. It just allows you to create or add a link to a second virtual tour if you have one. Manually entered YouTube video. Now what this does is, if we have the properties in motion system turned on for you, this is probably being populated automatically. But if you have a YouTube video created for a listing, you can add or embed that video on the listing detail page from here. So I'll go ahead and remove this video so that we can see. And we'll go up here and open our listing detail page up. So here's our listing detail page and what it looks like so far. So I'm going to go down to the YouTube video section, and if I were to add a YouTube video to this, what I would do is go to YouTube, I would get the URL of the video, and then I would click on the field that corresponds to which URL I grabbed. So in this case, I have the share URL. But if I just went to a video page and I copied the URL of that page, I could paste that here in video URL. I could just grab this ID here at the end and copy that. If I did that, I would paste it into video ID. The key is you only paste in one of those fields. And then once you've pasted in the one you have, you click Update Video, and the system will populate the rest of the fields automatically. And when it does that, it will add that video to the detail page depending on what template you're using. So in this case, this one is not showing it. Let's make sure. Why not? Either that or that video URL is invalid. That's possible too. Here we are. So in the case of this template, it shows the video down here at the bottom. On some templates, depending on which detail page template you're on, it could show it up here with the main picture, or load up in a few different places depending on the template. But right now, most of them will show up down here under where the listing video section is. All right, back into the DeltaNet. The next thing you can do is you can add a welcome mat video. This works in exactly the same way. You just paste in the ID or the URL and hit update video. You can paste in a Matterport tour if you had a Matterport tour created for that listing. Again, you just paste in the ID or the URL of the tour or the embed code. Generally, Matterport will provide all that to you after they create your video. And then you hit update video and it'll embed that on the detail page in the same way. If you have the builders and community system turned on, then that would be turned on at the company level. So if your company has that turned on, you can go in here and add this listing to a builder or associate it with a builder and or a community here. And that way it'll show up on those corresponding builder and community pages on the front side. And there are potentially custom listing fields in here that you would only see if those are turned on again at the company level. But this allows you to basically toggle yes or no for individual custom features that this listing might attach to. So again, most companies won't have those turned on, but some might have some custom fields, and those would show up on this page also. If you have access to add open houses, you can also do that from this page. You just enter the open house information here, click add open house, and that'll add the open house to our system. The open house availability system is kicked off from this page also. Now this allows you to say that, or define periods of time that this listing is available for someone to host an open house. And then that'll show up on the login page or the welcome page for all the other agents in the company, so that if they are available to host the open house for you for this listing, they can basically submit a request to do that. So for example, we've got open house availability. Let's say this coming weekend. Or not this coming weekend, the following weekend. Add availability. Well, we added availability. So that's how you set that up. And then we have another video, and we'll do other videos on specifically the open house availability system. But generally, it'll show up for all other agents on this welcome page. So because we're on the demo site, there we are. So right now, there are no available open houses to post, most likely because I'm logged in as myself. But other agents will be able to see the open house that I posted here, and they'll be able to request to do that open house for me or host that open house for me. And when they do that, you'll get a notification. But like I said, we'll do a video more specific to that system here down the road. And we actually have another one earlier, but we'll do another one. So going down the line, the next thing we have here is, there we are, there's our open house availability system. We can add notes to this listing, and we can choose whether or not those notes will show up on the seller reports that go out to the agent or go out to the sellers. Otherwise, they'll just show up in here. And then I can go in here and I can also add or download all the photos. So it'll pull in all the photos from the MLS, but if I want to modify the photos, I can go in here, I can change any of them, I can add additional photos, or I have a button here that allows me to download all of the photos at once. And to add photos, I just go down here and I can use this photo uploader to add additional ones. I click on add files, select the files from my computer, and then hit start upload, and that adds them all to the listing. If I want to replace an individual photo, I'll use the replace photo choose file up here, select the file from my computer, click upload photo, and that will replace this photo with my photo. So there you go. That is the listings page. Now we're going to go back and take a look at seller reports just real quick. Again, we have some videos that are specific to seller reports, but we'll just take a quick look at how to set them up. So for seller reports, you can see I'm under listings, active listings again, and I'm back on this listings page. To set one up, I'm going to click on marketing and then seller reports that we saw earlier. So I'll click on none set. To set one up, I'll say set up a report to seller or the agent. I can pick, so I'll just say for a seller this time. Put in a seller name and an email address. Click on next step. If it finds somebody matching in the system, it'll allow me to select them here. So if I already have a customer with that email address, it'll pop up here and tell me that, so I can attach this report to their account. If I don't have anybody with that email address in my database, then it'll create a new account for me. So you can see add new seller with the new information because it didn't find any matches. I hit add seller. Now I get to pick what day it goes out and choose an initial send date if I want. So it's going to send out today by default, the current day. I want it to go out weekly. I want to get a copy of it, so to go to seller with a copy to the agent, but I can choose agent or seller only if I want. I'll pick my initial send date. We'll go ahead and say today. I can give it some, override the defaults for what comps it shows on these, like it'll actually show comparable listings and everything. So if I want to override those defaults, I can do that. It'll show comparable sold listings as well. So if I only want to show recently sold listings, not all the sold listing data we have, I can use this slider to say, show me only listings that have sold in the last 30 or 60 days, or whatever interval I choose here. And then when I'm done, I just click finish. And that's all there is to it. So now I've set up a seller report, and the system is going to automatically send that out on my behalf every week. So there you go. As always, thanks for joining me. We'll delve further into the seller report system and the open house availability system. They're kind of fairly small, fairly simple, but big enough that I think they kind of warrant their own videos. So we'll have those, or we'll have updated versions of those here down the road. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to comment on the video on Facebook or YouTube, or send an email into support@deltagroup.com, or give us a call. And thanks a lot for joining me. I'll see you next week.